you do it last week?
I don't think so. They can hear you. If there's anybody on here. I just screwed that up.
What'd you do?
I hit a button. I was
Oh.
trying to make sure the screen share was turned off so it wasn't in the way. And yeah, I hit the button too quick. Whoopsies. Newbie issues, right?
That's right.
So what'd you get for your tank? Because I knew you said you got some new lights or something.
Yeah. I got the new Orphix, the Spectra or whatever they call Quanta or whatever they call them. I don't know what the name of it is. What is it? The
You bought them and you
Natura.
don't even know what the name of it is.
I know, Orphic Natura. It's the new icon. So it's a
I've
little bit.
used the Atlantic Compacts, and they're actually still sitting over my 120. I just haven't taken them off yet to let the Orifix fill the gap. The Orifix are sitting. I cut 2 ledges right in the side of the canopy just to put the Orifix in there for now.
Oh, Jesus.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, I put the Deluas in there for now.
The Deluas, yeah. I've got an Atlantic. I've got 2 of the Atlantic V4s, but I had some LEDs burn out on them. A buddy of mine actually gave them to me, and I was going to upgrade them to.
It was blues.
Yeah, it was the blues.
Yep.
I was going to upgrade them to the icon because it was only going to be like maybe, I don't know, whatever dealer cost is on them. It's not that. It would have been like $800 or $900. But anyway, we ordered just a bunch of the Naturas and been playing with them. They're pretty sweet. It's got good spread, good color, great blend.
That's actually one of the things I like about the Orifix is, you remember I used to build LEDs. Mm-hmm. So when I was doing that, I mean, I was using just a heatsink board and Crees or Samsung or Luxon or whatever brand I was getting from my distributor, and I'd solder them all on. What I really like about the Orifix is the fact that if something happens, you can fix it. You can easily fix it at home. Super cheap. Everything is just very basic inside them. Even though they have the new app system, which is with the Naturas, that new app that is going to set them apart from a lot of other brands. The reason I didn't go with them is, one, the Deluas. I've been really interested in the Delua lights. And also just price point. The Delua lights are pretty good bang for the buck, especially for what you're getting.
They are.
I'm curious to see like yours versus mine when we get them both going.
Well, as you know, I ran all of the Delua stuff since they were one of the first in the U.S. and obviously would still be running them over the frag tank had I not had the fire. But I got a deal on these, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give them a shot. And then I would still run a couple of the Deluas over the frag system I've got a 50 or 60 gallon frag tank I picked up from a buddy that I'll run in that old fish room where my sump's going to be. And then I ordered the new tank. So it's 96, 36, 28. They're going to start building that. I don't know why I did it so early, but I'm still probably 8 or 9 more months till we get a house. But I'll have the tank built, and I'm going to run 6 of the Naturas over it. And I'm going to go without bars this time and just see if I even need it.
So you're not going to do the Orphic bars this time?
I don't think so.
I've got the 36-inch one. I think it's the ORA Blue Spectrum. I've got that sitting behind the tank, ready to put it in because of the Orifix or the Deluas. I'm just kind of wanting to see. I put the 150-degree lens on them, and the spread got a lot better. I'm overly enjoyed with the app and the way it looks, but I just I want to see what it does. Maybe put the bar on it to try to help blend it a little bit better. But I mean, with the 150s, it's great. I'm interested to see those on your tank, the Naturas.
Yeah, I had to run bars with the Deluas, with the X4s, just because the blend didn't look right to my eye. So I ran the OR3s. But if I do get the bars, I will go with the new OR4 bars from Orphic.
Yeah, I do like their bars the best. in my experience, one of the best bars I've ever used.
Yeah.
Who'd you order your tank from?
So I've got a actually I'm lucky. I've got a local aquarium tank builder. He does acrylic. He's about 25 miles from me. His name's Big
Oh, you're
Fish.
going acrylic?
I'm going acrylic. Yeah,
Oh,
man.
you're
After
an ass.
dude, after the
Sorry, I
fire,
should have said
I'm like,
that.
hey, after rebuilding our basement, I'm trying to make this as foolproof as possible without having to, drop 420 gallons of water on the floor. Not that acrylic don't break
Acrylic
as well, but
is as fast as the stand burned in a fire. I mean,
yeah, I know. But I got such a good deal on it. I just couldn't pass it up.
yeah, I mean, that makes it worth it. I know I've been talking to Joe over at Glass Cages. We're going to get me a couple of tanks. I told him. So I was just at the Aquatic Expo this weekend, and he sponsored the tank build for the freshwater side where they do the aquascaping and everything. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
He brought in 10, 10 or 12. They were like 40-gallon tanks, rimless, beautiful little tanks. I told him, I said, I need two. I need one for right here and one for right here. That way I can do a freshwater tank and a saltwater tank and get rid of this little blurred background looky thing that keeps making me look like I'm a magician.
yeah. Mine's like fluttering behind me.
Yeah, mine's doing weird things. But I get those two tanks set up right there. And to set these tanks up, we're going to use these saltwater guidebooks that we're about to start talking about. So I got to get him on the ball quickly. Might actually reach out to him tomorrow and see what he would do to get me some of those. That way I can get them
Oh,
built
yeah.
and get them set up quick. And if it's going to be like a week or two turnaround, we might put this saltwater care guide thing on hold. And then we actually just set both of these tanks up, saltwater first, then freshwater with the care guides and just go through it. Why not?
Yeah, and show off all your new freshwater products too.
Yeah. And the new saltwater products to include the dip that should be back in stock really, really, really soon.
Oh,
So
good.
let's go through this saltwater guidebook. I'm going to do the intro again, not the full minute one. I think it's a 30-second one. I don't know. I'm going to do this one again. Yeah, so we'll do this one, and then we'll go straight into it.
Okay.
But I want to get it all pulled up because I'm going to take the snippet from this section and use it for the YouTube video and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Ready? So everybody, if you guys have questions, we are on the chat. Please go ahead and ask. We're going to go through the Saltwater Aquarium Guidebook. We're going to go through this book right here. And we're going to go through it in kind of a little bit of detail and talk about what we're trying to do and what this care guide is talking about with setting up a saltwater tank. So I'm going to turn that screen back off. And Scott, here we go. Oh, and where I was going at with that, guys, if you got questions, go ahead and ask. When we're done going through this, it'll take about 10, 15 minutes to go through it. But once we're done going through it, if there's any questions in the chats or anything like that, myself and Scott will dig through them, answer any questions, and try to elaborate any more on these topics that we're about to cover, and then go from there. All right, here we go. Ooh. All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about our saltwater coral and fish aqua care guide by Quantum. It's our Reef Essential brochure that's going to take you from step one of setting up a tank and going all the way through having a beautiful established reef tank. So here we go. All right. So we want to say welcome to our Reef Essential guide. This is a comprehensive aqua guide that represents the result of over 40 years of collective experience in aquarium reef keeping and expertise in water chemistry. Within this guide, we're going to clarify some essential concepts of fundamental water chemistry principles and offer some practical tips, we call them our Q-tips, to ensure that your aquarium thrives like you want it to. However, before we dive into this details, let's tell you a little bit about Quantum and what we are. So Quantum was established with a simple yet profound goal, which is to enhance the joy of aquarium keeping. Recognizing the inevitable challenges and maintaining an aquarium, we, as fellow enthusiasts, wanted to make sure that you never face them alone. Should you require assistance, we've established platforms where you can access the support you need, precisely when and wherever you need it. Post your questions in our international Facebook group called The Q, or reach out through our website and any of our qualified professionals will get back with you. The importance of The Q's Facebook group here, and I want to kind of point this out to everybody, is it is our international group, meaning we're in multiple different countries, and everybody now has the thing called Google Translate. The big benefit to this Facebook group is, again, all these different countries have a requirement to answer any questions that come up during their normal operating hours. So for like me, when I'm sleeping, Australia's awake. When Australia's sleeping, I'm awake. So we all can use Google Translate for India, for UK, for any other countries that we're in, and be able to answer the questions that are being asked. So that's a great way if you're having issues to get really fast, rapid response from anybody in the quantum team. And there's about 80 people now working for quantum throughout the nation. I mean, throughout the world, basically. So let's be honest. A few of us relish sitting down to perform intricate calculations for dosing the aquarium products. Now, no one likes to do that. We know that. The free Quantum Aqua app that's available in all of your app stores, Google Play, your Apple iStore, and everything, will allow you to spend more time savoring your aquarium and less time trying to figure out exactly what to dose. Basically, with that app, put your information in, put the tank size it tells you what to do. Makes it pretty simple. Over nearly 2 decades, we've successfully developed diverse product ranges, launching them in numerous countries to delight of countless enthusiasts. This achievement stems from integrating scientific expertise with specialists and hobbyist feedback, resulting in genuine, high-quality products to help your aquarium flourish. After all these years, we say with confidence that none of our accomplishments would be possible without you guys. Thank you, guys. So what's your thoughts on that, Scott?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, you sent me some of the guides. It's very intuitive. It's nice. It's simple. It's, anybody that's just getting into the hobby can read it and understand it. It's not like some of the books that we all have that, you need a thesaurus to look up half the words that are in there.
See, they're not that big. Oh, that works.
Yeah.
They're not that big of guides. So they're actually little like 4x8 postcards, 6x8 postcards. And it's all very easy, very matte finish, very clean. Looks really, really, really good. Sorry, keep going. Sorry. I had one sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad you sent it and showed it to him. It's nice just to kind of have and look through it. No, it's a great little book.
So now I have to ask, do you want me to keep reading this or what do we want to do?
Yeah, I mean, we can just kind of go through the basics of, setting up. I know that you're talking about potentially setting up a couple 40s and, so we don't have to go into great detail, but it just kind of highlight what we're seeing and what we're, kind of what the book goes through for the folks.
Okay. And I'll just keep basically reading it kind of word for word and scavenging through it kind of quickly. All right. So the introduction to this guidebook is it's broken down into 5 simple steps as well as alternative dosing steps for step 3 and 4 under the alternate dosing methods. And I want to get back to that when we get through this, Scott. Don't let me forget, because the app has got the alternate dosing methods in it. And I kind of want to talk about where that is and how to make sure you understand what that means. So don't let me forget that. Additionally, fundamental practices or principles of setting up and cycling your aquarium. There's also a quick reference guide that we're going to have in this book as well to help walk you through it. It'll kind of fill in that information for you, and you'll see it pop up around step 1, step 2 area. The book is broken down in, like you said, the 5 different steps. The first step is going to be in the environmental parameters, which is the type of salt you're want to keeping, the type of aquarium you're want to keeping, the basic elements like your pH and stuff like that. That's really where step 1 is going to go into. Step 2 is once we get the tank up and running, then we want to get rid of any type of nuisance algae that are going to be in the tank. So this is going to happen during new tanks being established and set up. This is kind of what everybody refers to as the new tank syndrome. But there is ways to mitigate that and decrease the amount of severity that you're going to have with algae issues. The next thing is once we get all the algae taken care of, then we can accurately start increasing the calcium and alkalinity in your tank. By doing this is where all your coralline algae, your calcite algae, your calcareous corals and hard structured corals, your SPS and LPS corals and everything start growing and thriving. Now, this is where some of the alternate dosing methods will come into play here, because you're going to start looking at, like, we have a balling method, we have a 2-part method, we have individual dosing elements for like the ICP signature series method, where there's multiple different ways to do step 3 and step 4 that we're about to talk about. Now, once you get your tank established, set up, doing well in the alkalinity and calcium, and you got strong bones and your corals are healthy, this is when we're going to start trying to make them extremely beautiful. by giving you your bioactive color elements. The bioactive color elements is the main major and micro trace elements that are going to give your corals that color. They're what's going to make that zooxanthellae really pop in the corals and start making them look good. Now, step 5, after they look good and they're doing good and very healthy, you got to feed them to make them start growing really well. So that's where we come into a bioavailable nourishment. This is your feeding of your corals and giving them the daily vitamins and amino acids that they need. So the concept behind this guide is to help you create the ideal environments for your reef aquarium, as well as provide insight into what the key parameters are, while they are important, and how to adjust them. An additional section, cycling and adding fish to your aquarium, where we kept a few key principles as the role to beneficial bacteria and the nitrogen cycle are explained in detail in this book. So make sure to check that one out. The section is added right after step 1, like I was mentioning earlier. The other benefit to the section is it's going to help reduce the possible bacterial die-off, which may cause and restart the cycle. This is going to decrease wasted time, effort, and resources. If your aquarium has already been cycled, the action part of this section can be skipped, as there's no need to cycle aquarium again. Furthermore, we have free logbooks that are available on our website. You can go there, easily download them. The logbooks are the same size as the aquarium guides, but basically what they do is they're going to be a place for you to keep your key parameters and components by step. So like if you're in step 2, where you're talking about nitrates and phosphates, it's labeled step 2, nitrates and phosphates. And they also correlate with the dosing app, and all the bottles actually have the step numbers listed on them as well. So the key to keeping any aquarium successful is taking your time and make small adjustments and maintain consistent husbandry. If you rush through it or try to do too much at once, you run the risk of more negative effects occurring. This is a hobby, so take your time, create good habits from the start, and your aquarium will thank you by becoming a living success. All right, Scott, what you got? What's your
Yeah,
thoughts?
no, I mean, I'm just set up my 40. It's maybe what now, 2.5 months going on, and we all get that ugly stage where we want to rush through it, but you just can't. Just take your time, and we always want to add corals sooner. But I can say that, definitely the process of going through the initial setup is a lot easier and faster now than it was, even 5 or 10 years ago. You don't have to sit there and wait months before, even adding fish. So it's definitely cut down
Right.
a ton of time for us where, we're anxious and we want to get going.
What's your favorite way of cycling a tank?
So for me, I use Turbo Start, and then Dr. Tim's,
Okay.
and then usually, I've got fish in there within, a couple days. I'll throw in my fish and get it cycling, and you're still going to get the ugly stages no matter what, right? I mean, it's just part of the process, but it's definitely a lot better now.
Yeah, and that's kind of where they're where we're talking about here with the cycling and cycling and adding fish to your aquarium. Sorry, I'm looking at our screen, not the screen with it on the screen. So I was trying to read it through the screen. That was weird. Where we're talking about the cycling and adding fish to your aquarium part. It goes into like what type of bacteria to use, and why we're having you do it this way. The biggest reason is, I mean, you know this industry is, I know you're using the Turbo Start for the ammonium chloride. You're using the one and only for the Neutrofena bacteria. And then 2 days later, you're putting fish in. 2 or 3 days later, you're putting fish in to keep that ammonium source or that ammonia source going on to get that process to happen. That is a great way to do it. I mean, I've done it that way for years. My favorite way for a long time was the CChem
Mm-hmm.
stability. Sorry.
Yeah.
Stability. Yeah. CChem stability. I had to think of the name correctly. And the reason that was my favorite was because you put the nitrifying bacteria in, and then you, the next day, add more nitrifying bacteria, which makes that process continue to happen. And one of the benefits I've seen with doing it that way is when you compound that type of bacteria and it breaks down and it keeps breaking down and it keeps creating that waste, is you're hitting all forms of nitrifying bacteria or anaerobic bacteria in sense, to make sure that your phosphates and nitrates at the end of your cycle are actually what they are, versus with the way you're doing it, you're not actually able to see that whole process
Right.
happen. because you're basically dumping the end of the back into the cycle, and then it takes months for that whole cycling process for you to happen. And that's where we talk about trying with our bacteria and doing step 2 first, the algae and nutrient control, while you're doing that week cycle. We're able to eliminate about 90% of the ugly phase. That 120 I set up, it got the brown ugly, but that was it. And it had it for like 3 days.
Oh, that's perfect.
So definitely when we get into that and set this tank up, like I kind of really want to set up a tank as we go through this. I kind of like, yeah, that might happen actually.
Yeah.
Alyssa's going to kill me.
Hey, it's for the business. It's for the people.
Yeah, it's for the people. It's we got to figure out the patience part and make it happen. Have you had a chance to go through the app and play with like the steps and all that kind of
I haven't
stuff?
played with the steps of the app. I do use the app for my dosing for every supplement that I use of yours. I definitely live by the app. I have not used that for that piece yet, but that is something I definitely look into.
I'm trying to see if I can share this screen real quick. Replace screen sharing, entire screen. Where's my phone? Oh, I'm not on. Never mind. I'm not on my MacBook.
How dare you cheat on your Apple?
I know. Well, it's so old. It needs replaced. I need to get. Yeah, I just need to buy me a new one. Oh well, sorry. Back to the topic. Anyways, what I was going at with that is, I know I've shown you before how with the guidebook and the steps and going through the dosing app, how it's labeled step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and it's also labeled in the top corners of every bottle what series you're on, like environmental parameters or reef essential or other dosing. It kind of tells you on the bottle and there. So it kind of breaks it down to make the dosing a lot easier. We'll go through that when we get into dosing. Next page. All right. So the contents of this book, it is a kind of long book. It's around 53 pages. We're going to cover basically 3 to 4 pages today. So we'll be quick. But the first thing, page 1 through 3, is the recommendation setup for a reef aquarium. And then we'll go into step 1, which is the salt environmental parameters. Page 12 through 16 is cycling and adding the fish to your aquarium. This is that part where we were just talking about trying to get away from the ugly stages and trying to get your tank set up as efficiently, as patiently and efficiently as possible to make sure that your tank does get fully cycled and helps with the nutrient and algae control. Step 2 goes into your algae and nutrient control, which is where we're going to take care of phosphates and nitrates, get those levels down to where you want them. Step 3 is aragonite. Aragonite is the structure of your tank. It is the calcium, the alkalinity, the magnesium. It is what you corals desperately have to have stable to grow, be healthy, and look good. Step 4, now that they're healthy and strong, now we got to make them look good, put them in the gym, get them pretty, get all the makeup on them, whatever girls call it. But this is where the zooxanthellae starts to really shine. This is where we use your macro and micro trace elements to make your corals really, 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 really bright. 41 through 43 is the alternate dosing methods that we were talking about a little bit ago. But that is basically going to be steps or page 28 through 40, all combined in those alternate dosing methods. So we have Kalkwasser, we have powders for your aragonite series, we have a 2-part series, we have a balling series. During this step 3, 4, and the alternate dosing methods, that will be a pretty lengthy live when we go through all that, because it's a lot to talk about. And we might even break it up in a couple of different sections, Scott, just so we don't bore people too much. Step 5 is page 44 through 50. That is your food. That's your amino acids, your daily vitamins, and your coral food. 51 is just a message from us thanking you guys for joining us now and being a part of our journey as we grow and become the number 1 product brand in the world over the next 5 years. That's the goal,
Absolutely.
right, Scott? And then page 52 and 53 is a quick reference table at the back of the book. That's going to just basically give you all of your parameters and go over basically a quick summary of everything went through. All right. Anything else you think we should cover? Or does that pretty much give everything for freaking tank?
Yeah, no, I think it's really good, and it's not so in depth that you get lost. There's a lot of the books that are out there again that you just kind of get lost reading into it, and it's to me it's at some point it gets kind of boring. Where this is just nice, easy to read, easy to follow. helps you set up a tank. You don't have to have 20 years of experience. You could read this and get a really good understanding, and have a positive experience. And I think that's why we lose so many people in the hobby. Is just it's frustrating. You spend thousands of dollars on equipment, thousands of dollars on fish and coral, and when they die, it's deflating. So if you can kind of help people understand from the beginning, if you get your parameters in line, then the rest of the things that go along with it should flourish for you instead of perish like they do for most
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's very disheartening when you spend $5,000-6,000 on setting up something and it lives for three
Yeah.
weeks.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we all know everybody that's in this room has either had a tank or is looking to set up a tank or has already spent some money on some way or fashion on this hobby. And I mean, it's sad when you see a $4,000 coral sell at a trade show and then the guy drops it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that hurt.
Yeah.
um, the other thing about this is a lot of mom and pop stores are going away from the whole I'm going to spend 2 hours helping somebody and stuff like that, because inflation of the economy has just made this industry pretty hard. Because like Carrie just said, with saltwater dying fish is natural. It's something that happens. But when you spend $150 or $200 on a yellow tang and it dies, you're like, that was a car payment. And it hurts. It hurts a little bit more than a neon tetra that's $3 dying. Oh, I just didn't drink a soda today.
Right.
It's a big difference. And again, mom and pop stores, they still do great jobs at helping people, but I'd say probably 60% of this hobby is moved more online driven now. And there's nobody out there doing this kind of stuff to try to educate people. And that's kind of why we came out with these books and we're putting them out online for people to be able to download, head straight to our website and download them. And it's there for you guys to download. The guidebooks, all the other back end stuff that we're working on right now to move those log books online so you can keep track of it in a better documentation than in a book or at your house or something like that. You can have a cloud backup. There's lots of things working in that way. So let's go ahead and go into the recommended setup for a reef aquarium. That way we can fly through these 3 pages and then get to answering all these questions. The initial setup can influence the short and long-term performance of your reef aquarium. In various natural waterways, there are many methods Mother Nature employs to keep thriving ecosystem healthy. Whereas in your home, you simply do not have access to these resources. I mean, we're talking, even Andrew Sandler's tank, 17,000 gallons. Ooh, what is that? That's not even a square inch of the ocean is how much water volume moves through it in any minute. So, there's no way we can replicate what the ocean does. So now we use science to do the best that we can to get it as close to replication as possible. Despite that, your aim is to replicate this natural habitat and maintain its vitality. This is something that nature has spent millions of years refining. As a general rule of thumb for accurate dosing, the dosing formula is total volume of aquarium and external filter minus all media, rock, ornaments, etc. that occupies volume. Outlined on the following pages are our recommended products for the fundamental setup of a reef aquarium. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. We're just trying to do the best we can to give them the best fighting chance to replicate where they were in the ocean. And it's come a long way. I'm going to date myself, but I started with under gravel filters, and just it was terrible.
I still have two. I still have 2 under gravel filters running.
Do you really? Now. Oh my gosh!
Yep,
man.
I love them. I still have the old school white crushed coral, the old school Florida crushed coral that we all used to love back in the late 90s. Yeah. I still have it running in the same tank. Awesome. So, it's good. That type of aerobic filtration was great for keeping ammonia and nitrite down. Not good for keeping nitrates down, but it was good for the others. So I'm using it for aggressive predator tanks and it works great. So one thing I do want to add here is where it says that as a general rule of thumb for accurate dosing, total volume minus all media, rock, ornaments, etc. Very few people actually play the rock game. Let me figure out my rock displacement for total water volume. Most people, if you go by like BRS's, saltwateraquarium.com's, and a lot of the manufacturers' new sumps, They're 20% of the water volume. That's their recommendation. So if it's a 100-gallon tank, you're looking roughly a 20-gallon sump. That's what most of those guys are pushing, between a 20 to 40% of the total water volume of the display tank is the sump. Now, when you put in your live rock, unless you're doing a minimalist reefscape, forget your sump, forget your rock. If you got a 100-gallon tank and you put 50 pounds of rock in it and you got a 40-gallon sump under there, guess what? Start all your dosing at 100 gallons. Start with your display volume if you have a sump, and then move from there. Take away your rock displacement. Don't even think about that. Don't even think about your sump size. Start with your display tank's volume. I've been doing this now for about 30 years when it comes to dosing, and starting there has proven, I would say probably 98% of the time, to be the most accurate guess that you can do. I mean, yeah, we can figure out weight. We can figure out sand weight, water weight, decoration weight, coral weight, all that, and figure out the exact displacement, but you're going to be very close if you start there. What's your thoughts on
No,
that, Scott?
that's a good start. I'd rather start low than start high and you're
Exactly.
going, oh my gosh, now your numbers are way out of whack.
Yep, because if you start there, you can always dose a little bit more if you need to, and then back off as your corals grow, or add more as your corals grow. It just depends on your tank. All right, next page. Flip the page. All right, lighting. We already started talking about lighting a little bit earlier before we got really started. Scott and I both are putting new lights on our tanks. I've been a Radion guy my whole life. Well, for the last probably 8 years. Scott's gone through quite a few brands to include his own brand. He got me away from Radion for a little bit to go to his brand, and then I'm back to Radion. But I've switched over to Orific and Delua over the last couple of years, months, and have loved them. And I know Scott uses a couple of different other lights as well. But lighting, the big important thing about that is the things that give your corals color is actually a symbiotic algae called zooxanthellae. It's a photosynthetic, or let me start over. Zooxanthellae are photosynthetic, meaning they use light and nutrients to create a complex molecule, biomolecules. Coral provide housing for zooxanthellae in exchange for consuming many of the biomolecules that zooxanthellae creates. I.e., for example, zooxanthellae creates protein. Protein breaks down for the corals to consume it. So the symbiotic relationship that you see in the coloration between zooxanthellae and corals is what helps each other organism live and give your coral color. You'll see things when lighting's too strong, corals bleach out. When lighting's not strong enough, they brown out. That's actually not the coral itself doing that. It's actually the zooxanthellae exposing its algae going away from the coral, trying to find somewhere else, or in getting in too much of abundance of zooxanthellae. Both of those reasonings will cause different things. Once we get away from the lighting, we got to go into return and circulation pumps. Aquarium inhabitants require water circulation, as stagnant water can build up toxins as well as hinder the supply of necessary molecules required for optimal health. What's your recommendation on this, Scott? Are you still the 10 times a day or 10 times an hour? Or are you down to the 3 to 4 times an hour?
I've probably been down to 3 to 4 times per hour for probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years myself. But I like more flow in the tank. I'll notice that if I'm getting algae in areas, it's because there's not enough flow in an area. So I'll either add a power head, something like that. I'll ramp up the pumps. I'll let them ramp up a little bit longer. I want as much contact time with the sump skimmer I can get to get that water clean. I feel like if you're just ripping it through, you're not really giving your skimmer time or your fleece time to really catch everything that you want it to. So I'd rather go a little bit slower through the sump and then make sure I've got plenty of flow in the tank, and it'll really help with the algae. That's when I notice I get the most algae. Just the in-tank flow is just not right.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of just to try to
Yeah.
settles because of the intake flow is low. Red cyno is a prime example. You got a low flow area to try to sit there, builds up a quick nutrient pocket that's different than your water column, and boom, there's cyanobacteria.
Yeah.
I mean, darn near every time the fix for cyanobacteria is adjust the flow and
Yep.
it moves. Well, it doesn't move, it just goes away because that pocket of mixed nutrients is gone. No, I'm with you. When we all started doing the refugiums and algae scrubbers, when refugiums came about, that's when I really dropped from the 10 to 15 times an hour down to the 4 to 5, because you need that contact time. You need that contact time for the Chaeto or Chaetomorpha to be able to go in and pull out the nitrates. You need that contact time for your mangroves to pull out phosphates. Same thing with any of the type of macroalgae that you're trying to grow down there. You have them down there for a reason. Also, you need that contact time with the miracle mud. Benefits of the miracle mud being nutrient, minerals, things like that. I'm also with you about slowing it down. So the protein skimmer, which is the waste produced by inhabitants of your aquarium, contains undesirable nutrients. If allowed to accumulate, this waste breaks down into molecules that can lead to nuisance algae and adverse effects in your aquarium. An efficient method to filter out excessive proteins is by using a protein skimmer. I mean, protein skimmer, if you put hand in your tank and you got lotion on it and it floats up to the tank, to the top, your protein skimmer is pulling that excessive protein that's not wanted, that inorganic molecule that's not supposed to be there. It's pulling it out of the tank. So like you're saying, giving it that constant contact time with that skimmer pulls a lot more crap out of your tank, and it increases your pH by doing oxygen exchange for you.
Yep, exactly. That's key.
Sorry. Nitrifying bacteria is another reason for it to stay slow in your tank. Nitrifying media is media found in high oxygen environments to help remove toxic ammonia, ammonium, and nitrate, as they house beneficial bacteria, which consume and convert these molecules into a less toxic nitrate. Hence, media blocks, miracle mud, any type of biomedia that you have down in your sump, even if it is live rock. What do you use?
Live rock is my big piece. That's what I find works the most beneficial for me in my history of working with these. Is I have a lot of rock in my sump. Usually, not as much as the tank for obvious reasons because of the size of the tanks, but I still have anywhere from 100 to 125 pounds of rock in my sump.
Jeez. See, if you saw my display tank, the 180 at the store, you would probably smack me there.
We got about 3 or 4 little pieces down there.
No, the sump literally has filter roller socks where it pulls out all the solid particles and helps improve the water quality or clarity. I wanted to throw that one in because I could right then. A protein skimmer, a power head on the bottom to keep the detritus from settling, and a return pump that pumps it all back.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
There's a bag of carbon in there. I put a bag of carbon in there for 1 week, once a month.
I'll throw carbon in occasionally. I'm not a big user of carbon, especially long term.
Well, for me, that tank it's a sealed tank. It's got a canopy on it. I mean, it's got a canopy, and no one puts their hands in it except for me. And there's not much interaction with that tank, so I'm not worried about crap getting in there. So, denitrifying media is media found in low oxygen environments help to remove nitrate, as they house beneficial bacteria with the addition of nitrate removers. This helps to convert nitrate into chemically inert nitrogen gas and reduce unwanted algae. So your denitrifying media is your stuff that will break down and consume nitrates. This is also what a lot of people in the industry refer to as anaerobic bacteria. So this is where I was asking you about nitrifying media and the denitrifying media, what you use for removing nitrate in your tank. So
I use your chemicals.
Temperature control. Yeah, I know.
Makes it easier. I just dump a capful in.
It does. But even with my nitrate remover, you have to have somewhere for that bacteria to grow, because most nitrate removers out there, whether it's vodka, whether it's ethanol alcohol, whether it's nitrate removers, sponges, filters, things like that, all they do is feed your denitrifying media. They feed that bacteria that creates that exchange of gas. I mean, that's the whole point. We feed the bacteria so it can go in and eat it up and exchange it out for good byproduct. All nitrate removers do the same thing. Just depends on how you want it set up and how fast and how much you trust that brand that you're using. Temperature control. Where do you keep your tank?
I'm at about 78 is where I typically keep my tank, which is a little bit higher, they think, than a lot of people's. Most people that I know are 76 to 77. I'm about 78. It just seems to run a little bit hotter. Um, but if it's any hotter than that, I definitely see, negative consequences with my corals when I've run it hotter in the past.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I keep my thermometer, my thermostat set at 76, but I'm in Florida. It stays at 78. I've got canopy
Yeah.
fans in the canopy, one going in, one going out. I've got a double going in the sump, coming out of the sump, and it just doesn't keep
No,
up.
no, we're in the swamp heat. We got this
I
hot,
can't.
hot. I mean, me in Georgia,
Yeah,
it's just hot and
I
muggy, and humidity's ungodly here.
I do everything I can to keep it
Well,
below
so what
80.
helped me is I put a full basement dehumidifier in. So I run it about 40% in my basement, which is extremely low, but I've got my
Oh, screw you.
I've
Screw
got my 3D
you.
printing, so it's key for that. I'm not having to dry filament. But yeah,
Yeah.
once I did that,
I don't like that dry heat.
oh, it's gorgeous.
That gets
Oh, I love it
sucked.
down there. It's so nice.
You're lucky. All right, dosing pumps. Do you use them? What do you
Yeah,
use?
I use them. I use, actually, I'm building one. I saw one. I was on, what was I on? Oh, Reef Moonshiners. There was a guy that posted up one that he built. So I've been actually going back and forth with him. I ordered all the heads, and
Do you need parasitic pumps? Because I have like
well,
15
here's
of
the
them.
deal. They're $10 a head. They're Kimura pump heads. They're $10 each. So I'm running eight
Yep.
of those, and it's running on Adreno. So I'm going to need to reach out to my nerdy friend Will and have him help me code this. And it's just
Yeah. I mean, what are you putting it
yeah.
online, or are you gonna just keep it where it's
Um,
just you're gonna do the whole IP package
yep,
for
yep. I've
Adreno and
purchased the
everything?
pro package. I think it'll do, I don't know, whatever their secondary package.
So you just want me to?
Yeah. So you're just going to log
So you
in.
just want me to show
Yeah,
you
you're
my
just going to
code?
log in and do it.
I'm just gonna show you my code because I already
Okay.
have it.
Yeah, much easier.
I just never actually put it into play because I did. I had probably 8 of them over a period of time running where it was those. I never put it online. So it kind of sucked having to grab the laptop, plug it
Oh
in,
yeah.
and rewrite code, not put boxes like you're gonna have. Yours is gonna be web
Yeah.
interfaced where it's stupid easy. I can show you mine
Yeah.
later on. Um, Makes it so much easier. I never got into that. That's when I started Quantum, was right around that time, and I'm like, all this go away while I focus on this.
Yeah.
So no, I dosing pumps are an optional thing. However, the biggest benefit to this industry and what we strive for in this industry is stability. So the more stable you can keep your tank, the healthier your
Hmm.
inverts are going to be. I know there's these new methods where people are talking like dose everything at one time, let it go throughout the day. I I don't see how that's beneficial when everything that we try to mimic is the ocean, and those parameters never fluctuate at all.
Never.
I mean, they fluctuate from
Yeah.
region to region, but that coral does not go an influx of 14 in the morning to 8 in the
No.
evening. So I let's just stick with, in all purposes of quantum in this, for the conversation for this, is stability is the most important thing in a reef tank.
100%.
um
No matter what product you
yeah,
use, I don't care
yeah,
what brand, what you're using, doesn't
yeah,
matter.
don't care.
Stability is key for success.
And dosing pumps allow you to have that
Yeah, we're all
stability.
busy.
Whether you're using a dosing pump for an auto water
Mhm.
change, whether you're using it for husbandry maintenance, topping off your tank, dosing your chemicals, your elements. Like you said, Scott, Americans are
Very,
very lazy. We're all
very.
lazy. We all have way too much stuff going on in our lives for us to really come home and have to worry about our
Yeah.
fish tank. So try to automate it as much as you can without forgetting about it completely. I do have customers of ours that have completely forgotten about their tanks because it's so
Yeah,
automated.
definitely have
So
that.
automate to make your life easy, but not to
Right.
forget.
Right. And that's what I think, when I got onto Reef Moonshiners, whatever, a year or two ago, I don't, I don't necessarily know the ins and outs of everything, right? But it made me pay more attention when I got into doing daily dosing, um, and everything seemed to do better. But yes, I'm sure, making sure I'm dosing the right elements and all that. But it was more the hands-on every day. I was paying attention really helped me out. Um, so I'm going to,
Yeah.
go with your new product line where you've got the individual uh, things that we can dose. Um, but there's some of those things that the dosing pump just make life easier. The 3-part, or for me, I use your calc, and just anything I can do to help try to keep it as stable as possible. 24 hours a day.
Yep.
That's what I want to do. It just makes life a little bit easier because we got so much
And
going
then
on.
and and that's like my display, the 180 or 300, whichever way we're talking. My display is a 180, and there's a 180-gallon frag tank on the back. So, or it's a 200. No, it's like a 150 on the back. But we dose it for 300. It's running calc, it's running Easy E, Easy Z, and it's running BioEnhance. That is the 4-head dosing system. It's got 2 Apex doses on it. One head's for the calc, one head's for Easy E, which is your calcium supplement with all your trace elements. The other one's for Easy E, which is your Aqua supplement with all your other trace elements. And then the BioEnhance for your daily food, for your corals and daily amino acids and vitamins and whatnot. So it has made my tank so
Yeah.
simple. I don't ever have to worry about it. I mean, I have it set to alarms to tell me when there's less than 100 milliliters left in the bottle. So I can send a text message to one of the guys at the office to go top it off if I'm out of town, or tell my wife to ask my wife to top it off for me if she's
I like how
anywhere
you
near
corrected
there.
yourself.
Um,
You asked your wife.
yes, I did. um, I mean, the dosing pump makes life so much
Yeah.
easier when it comes to stability,
Yep.
stabilizing a tank. So, do you have a top off system?
Yes, I do. Which I actually am having issues with. I got the brand new
Okay.
Tunzi, whatever the new one. It's a pile of crap, in my opinion. I can't get it to work. The
Pile
old
of dog
Tunzi
turds.
were fantastic. Never an issue. This new
Yeah.
optical one that they've come out with,
Yeah.
I'm on the second one. It doesn't work. It's so annoying.
So, I I've had quite a few issues with their optical. Um, Reef Breeders. Reef Breeders is by far my favorite optical one. The Reef Breeders one or the Duetto.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually just got a
Duetto,
I
I don't
just got
know.
in one for my for a hydros. I just finally ordered. I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to at least get it going. Now I've got the old school Tunzi
That's
on my daughter's 15. Perfect, never an issue. The new one,
okay.
I'm going down there and I'm like, oh, I hear sucking noise. I'm like, oh god, what is it now? Oh, well, guess what? The ATO didn't work again, so I'm gonna have to switch it out, get rid of it, and then install the hydros this weekend.
Yeah, mine's on the Hydros. My bedroom, the 20-gallon, it's on the Reef Breeders ATO. Mine at the store's on the Reef Breeders ATO. My mom's store is a Reef Breeders dealer, so we have a
Mhm.
lot of Reef Breeders ATO stuff. Um, Dosing pumps. I know you said you were staying with the one you have. I'm a fan of the
Oh
J-Bows,
yeah, how can you not be?
the J-Bows or J-Bows, the
How
DP4s
can
for
you not?
80
They
bucks
last
for
forever.
wireless control, and they last forever. I mean, I do find I have to
Hmm.
calibrate it. I have to calibrate it about every 6 months, and I'll see that I mean, in 6 months for a cheap Chinese product, when it drops out of sync by 1 to 2 milliliters, I'm not too worried about it because 1 to 2 milliliters, your tank has grown
Yeah.
that way. I mean, it's grown up to that, so it's not that big of a deal. I've got that on a lot of my tanks. I have the Hydros line on my 120 here at the house. It's got the 4 single head Komura pumps on it, the Hydros CoreView Komura pumps. Um, and I'm running the Hydro system on that tank, and I love it. I know you said you're Hydros, but didn't you used to have Apex? I mean, I've got Apex on the 180 at the
So my
store.
apex,
What's your thoughts on
yeah, my
automation?
apex, since the issues with the EB832 that I've heard of, fires in the past from others. My apex,
But that's not
not
what
not
caused your
what caused
fire.
mine. I was pleasantly happy, but all I run is
I just want to make sure
oh
that's
yeah, no,
clear
no, no,
for for
yeah,
legal
no,
reasons.
definitely not.
We're not saying an
No,
Apex
no,
caused
my
the
Apex
fire.
is perfect. So I run the Trident NP. I run the Trident, and then I've got an EB8, the old school metal boxed EBs that are just
Yep.
phenomenal, no issues,
The ones
never
that never
break.
break.
And that's all I have. That's all the Apex that's on my system. And then I run Hydros that does. I just got a minnow in Monday. What is today? Wednesday. So Friday. So
Okay.
last Friday I got the minnow in. I'm going to run it with the two heads, and then I'm going to run their ATO.
Make sure you let me know when you order any of that stuff,
Yeah, absolutely.
because I know people. You know
You know
people.
people. We know people.
Probably get you
I
better
like that.
deals. Probably get you better deals than what
I
you're
like
paying
that.
for.
I like that. But I've ran just
um.
about everything. I mean, I've tried
Anyways,
I've used the Ecotech their dosing pumps. I've used the J-Bow, which is now like J-Cod. If you look on eBay, I don't know if they've rebranded or what they've done, but they've changed their name on a lot of the pumps. You'll see it's J-Cod now, which is still J-Bow.
mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
I've run the Red Sea. I had great luck. I was running four of the four head Red Seas before the fire. Um,
Oh, geez, that's a lot of
yeah,
Red
but
Seas.
I got him. I got him for a great deal. Guy was getting out. I gave him $100 a piece. So I paid $400 for four forehead. Yeah,
I hate you.
I was a good come up on that. But so I've tried them all, and then the dose. I've got the Neptune, the dose, but they're just obnoxiously loud. You can't have them in a living room.
Very
And the
loud.
new ones,
We can hear them in the
yeah,
store. In the store, we can hear them dosing when they're
they're
dosing,
obnoxious. Now,
and that's over all the water
now
that's in the
their
store.
new ones is out. Is nice. It's quiet.
It's still loud.
It's a heck of a lot more quiet than those. But I'm 0 for 1 with one. So like it ran for like 3 weeks and then now it just hums. And I'm on like I sent it in and it's like
Ugh.
week 8, then I still don't have it back from them. The
Yeah,
support's
no.
gone downhill.
So Cheyenne, that is a question that Scott and I said we will not answer on these lives. Is which one to go with? We will just point out pros that we like about them, i.e., the biggest pro that I like about Hydros is the fact that every unit is its own brain. You don't have to buy the $500 or $700 brain to operate anything you want to do. You can go as low as just a little
Mm-hmm.
X2, an auto top off pump for like $150, and boom, you have an automated controller on your phone, online, everything that you can start doing and simply and cheaply add on. Where Apex is great is they're the originals. I mean, they're the originals. They're what everybody knows. They have everything lined in. Yes, you have to start with the brain, but the benefit of starting with the brain is you don't have to put things in a collective. You don't have to join everything, but you have to start there and then cable everything to everything with multiple cables. So there is pros and cons to both of them. Hydros, I think, is just a much newer option, and they have a very good reputation of customer service and whatnot.
Yeah. The worst part with
You're just waiting to see the new one that comes out. Go
I
for
was
it,
to say the
Scott.
worst part with Hydros is adding a module, building out your module, and then remembering you didn't add it to the collective and you have to start over. That's the worst.
Yes,
I've
that
done
does
that
suck.
more times than I care to admit.
I will say though, Cheyenne, that their YouTube videos that Carlos puts out are absolutely
Oh yeah.
incredible. And if you follow the YouTube video every time you do it, instead of going, "Oh, I know how to do it," you work out just fine. You won't have that issue where you have to delete stuff and put it back in. Um, question: I see your question is waiting on the new one, the Maven. Um, the Maven is coming out. It's still in works. They're starting to take pre-orders on it now from all the big guys. I don't know anything official from Coral View. I will say that, but rumor has it you'll see it in a couple of months. I know it was supposed to be out Black Friday, but they had an issue with one of the reagents. causing issues, so they had to redo something to make it better.
I think it was phosphate.
I would not. I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to. I am not going to say I would wait on a Maven to let that be your first thing, because you're missing kind of 90% of the point of automation. The whole point of automation is getting your dosing set up, getting your pH monitoring, your salinity monitoring, your temperature, and all the different types of things you can monitor. Get you automation going, and then add the Maven if you want. Have you talked to David lately about, or Carlos, if they're going to allow RS feeds from Arduino yet?
If they're going to what?
Allow RS feeds from Arduino yet?
I haven't asked him.
Okay. It's something they've been talking about doing for a while.
It'd be nice.
I have a workaround.
I've seen the Mavens at the trade shows. I mean, Cheyenne had asked about.
Yeah, they've been out. They've been showing them. They just haven't released it yet for.
And I will say,
it's.
I will say for the hundreds of, or I won't say hundreds. I'd say for the tens of people I've seen complain about the Neptune, the Trident NP. Oh, it doesn't work. Blah blah blah.
I'll say hundreds.
Okay, let's say hundreds. Well, with mine, I am within 3% on both numbers since I bought it. And I'm knocking on wood because I probably jinxed myself and it's probably going to turn off. Now, with the Trident, I'm on my 7th replacement because it just goes bad after so long. And it's, whatever, $200 every time you do it. But I think the first 4 or 5 were under warranty, and then I finally just said, forget it. And then I just bought a new one, whatever. But the NP for me has been fantastic. I know I'm in the minority.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. I mean, we have one at the shop. I've got a lot of people who use them. If I was going to buy brand new right now, I would go Hydros all day. Even though they don't have the Maven out, I still would go it. Because me personally, I want the hands-on my tank. I want to be testing my alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium. I mean, magnesium, I do it once a month. Alkalinity and calcium, I do it probably every 2 weeks now because my tank's stable. But I want the ability to be able to test those. I do like seeing my pH. I do like seeing my temperature, my salinity 24/7. Just because, like you and I, we both dose calc. So to make sure that our salinity is not dropping because of the addition of calc and RO, make sure we're not having that issue is kind of important to us. Carrie, I have the Apex at the shop. I love it. It works. It does everything I need it to. I have the Hydros at home. I love it. It's great. It does everything I need it to. So
I run both. Yeah. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I run both. That's just how I've always been. Since Hydros came out, and I've known David for 20 plus years. God, I feel old. So I've always wanted to support him. So I've ran both systems concurrent on every system I have, and then it just gives me, backup. And I never rely on a Trident to dose for me. I would never do that. That's just my opinion. I still check the big 3, once a week. But it's nice to have both, and I can see, just have them both going. And when the Maven comes out, I'll buy it. And I'll keep my NP and my Trident on. And it's just peace of mind for me. And if I see something get way out of whack, I'm like, oh God, I better go, get out the Hannas or the test kits. And see, I'm colorblind. So for me, I've got to rely on the Hannas, on the auto checkers, because I can't see the titration.
How are you colorblind and you do shirts and colors?
I have a beautiful wife, and I go by hex colors. What color do you need? They give me the hex code. I know how to make it. But yeah, no, it's like, so when it's tritating, I can't.
Sorry, I can't
see when it changes color. So either Kelly will do it for me, or I've got to do the Hanna. I just don't have any other choice.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I'm with you on the whole not allowing my Trident to control my dosing.
Yeah.
I do, however, allow the Trident to control if it can dose. So if I'm over 450, calcium cannot dose. If I'm below 380, it cannot dose more than 20 milliliters. I do that as a safety, but send me an alert to tell me that it's out of range. I do that as a safety measure so it can or can't dose based on that. But I will never herd. I'm sorry, I read her say herd. I will never rely on it saying my alkalinity is at 8.2. I need to bump it up to
Okay.
8.5. No, it's
Yeah.
extremes for me. It's 7 to 9. So just as a safety backup fail type thing for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So anybody got any questions on the couple topics we covered? Lighting, filters, dosing pumps, any of that kind of stuff? I know I saw one back here. Mark Labor said that all he normally has in his sump is the rock, kind of like you.
He's smart.
It's
Unlike you.
what I
Unlike you
usually
with
do.
0 rock in your sump.
Well, dude, the grow out tank is nothing but frag racks after frag racks after frag racks of nothing but zoas and zoas and mushrooms. So there's no nitrates in my tank. I took all the rock out because I couldn't keep them up. 78 for both. Hydros. Blah blah blah. It seems to be out. I despise looking at the colors to try and determine what my levels were. I agree. I use the Hannah for almost everything. The only one I don't use Hannah for is calcium and magnesium, just because I don't trust it. I don't like the distilled water, and depending on what type of water I have is what math formula I do, and blah 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 blah. It's just a pain. I use them for pretty much everything else, though.
Like some of us don't have those great eyes like
My
you.
favorite hydrometer. My hydrometer is my salinity. You know what I'm trying to say? The salinity hydrometer from Hannah. It's my absolute favorite. The temperature hydrometer and everything. It's great. Salinity meter.
See, Tyan's, she's talking. She's got that really nice high end.
Oh, the X Aqua is freaking
You and
awesome.
I almost bought that.
So the X.
What was that? 3 years ago when he brought those to the show in South Carolina, Scott shows.
Uh-huh.
I wanted one then.
So it's cool. It's kind of like having the Hannah Master Kit. So the Hannah Master Kit is great, except for, like I said, I don't like their calcium or their magnesium one because of the distilled water issue. I haven't tried their new mag yet. I know the new mag is different. But it's just like their master kit where you can store the document, you can store the test readings, you can keep logs in that device, you can upload those logs to your computer to put them on Excel spreadsheets or whatever type of database you want. So it's really cool in that aspect for traceability and whatnot. And it just gives you a number. You put it in, you do the little shake yourself, and you put it in there, and boom, it does the reading for you after a certain amount of time. Me personally, the reason I didn't want to get it is because I do a lot of tank services, and I don't want to sit at a customer's house for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, like the Hannah Master Kit and the X Aqua, where you're sitting there for an hour to do 7 tests because the nitrate test takes 9 minutes. Aquaspin is another great one I was about to say, Cheyenne. So I personally hate the Aquaspin test. The Aquaspin test does not give you anything accurate. It has got such a broad percentage, but 90% of your fish stores use it. My fish store uses it. We use it for all of our customers because as a customer base and me being in a fish store, my goal is to make sure that you don't do this. You're not swinging. So if my alkalinity tests between 8 and 9, then I know that my customer is between 8 and 9. I don't know if he's at 8.4, 8.6, but he's between 8 and 9, so he's healthy. If he comes in and he's at 6, we know we have a problem. Same thing with calcium, magnesium, nitrate, ammonia, nitrite, and phosphate. So you get all those results in a quick 5-minute test, but they're not accurate to what a Hannah test would be. But you take their percentage, you take a Hannah's percentage, they're within each other. But it's where is that precise number at? That's the difference with the API, the Aquaspin kit. The real big thing about the Aquaspin kit, Cheyenne, is if you're not doing it online with them set up for your tank size, for magnesium, calcium, ammonium, or ammonia and nitrite, you'll get way off the wall results because it uses a mathematical formulation with the color that it gets to give you those numbers. So make sure you use your cal disc to see what the difference is there, and it tells you on your calibration disc what that is. X Aqua, like I said, it's great. Hannah's great. I'm also a big fan of Saltwater for the calcium and magnesium, and I know you're colorblind, so you can't use them, but they're my favorite because it's very easy to use. Sorry, I know I took that long, but she started talking about the Aqua Spin one, and Aqua Spin's a really good, like I said, it's a good test kit, but it's for this. It's not for this.
More to just give you an idea if you're way off.
Yeah, it's more quick reference. I mean, those discs, I don't know, Cheyenne, if you're a store or just an end user or whatnot, but those discs cost a store around $3 a piece. Yeah, so when the store's charging $8-10 for a test, don't be surprised. And then they'll always ask you for what your last test was to see what the swing is, or we can look it up in the system. So, yeah, Tyann, you said that perfect. It's a ballpark tester. It's kind of like it. I mean, it's the same solution as the old API Reef Master Kit. Scott, if you remember those old ones, you used to shake up on little 5 milliliter vials. It's the exact same thing. They just put it in a disc with little metallic balls that give out a quick color that goes over an optical sensor.
Oh, wow.
And it does an algorithm to figure out what the actual level is based on tank size and whatnot.
Huh.
And it's that same 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 for nitrate. So it's nothing near like what a Hannah is, where it goes down to 0.001 or parts per billion if you're looking at phosphorus. So, all right. Anybody got any other questions? Because we kept you all on here for an hour. My kids want to turn the TV back on.
No TV. You have to learn about reef tanks.
And now my wife is mimicking me because I just laughed. Where's she at? She's somewhere around there. I hope that don't hit her.
I don't know how she puts up with you.
Good.
She's a sweet woman.
She just threw it back at me. All right. Anybody got any other questions? Next week we'll just get on and kind of BS like we've been talking. We're gonna do a week of this and just a week of quick BS. Talk about trade shows, things coming up, new events coming up for Quantum, and just random BS. 2 weeks from now we'll go into the next step, which is going to be step 1, the environmental parameters. This is where we'll actually talk about the benefits of our salt, the differences between our salt, all the other different types of brands and salts and stuff that's out there. And then we'll go into pH, why it's vitally important. We may do a pH by itself as its own episode, just because there is so much talk about pH. And there's been so much talk about pH since the early 90s. Used to be a huge thing, used to not be a huge thing, used to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now it's back to being where it is one of the most vitally important elements that you can test for reasons. And we can talk about those in a little bit more depth on that episode or that live, whatever we want to call this. But I think, what do you think? You think we should do that one as a separate episode by itself?
Yeah, I'm ready to learn from you because I don't pay attention to it very much. As long as mine's around 8.3 to 8.5, I'm good.
But you're checking it.
I am.
So yeah, mine at my house, even with Calquaster, but I mean, I'm not dosing a lot of calc right now because I'm just starting the tank. But even I'm doing 100 mils of calc a day. I'm barely at 7.
Because you talk too much. You're sucking up all the oxygen in your house.
Well, no, the tank is sealed. It's got a canopy. It's completely sealed in. So.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, I'm ready for her meal. I'm excited to go to Rap Dallas.
Rap Dallas is going to be fun. We still got to get our booth, trying to figure out where we're going to put it. I think I'm going to put it right behind saltwateraquarium.com so we can see if we can talk them into carrying our products finally. Because the amount of people that keep asking for it is unreal. I just got to get it on one of the bigger sites, so shipping is a lot better for you guys.
And I know a guy.
That's the whole reason we want to get it to him. We know a guy, you know a guy. We're going to try to be right by him. We're going to see if we can all rally together and say, hey, come make some money with us.
Yeah, it just helps with shipping. When you're a small guy that's not shipping the volume that, BRS and saltwateraquarium.com. It's
Well,
just, it's crazy the cost.
it's not just that. I mean, I can afford to pay for everybody's shipping for it. It's just not fair. It's not fair to Fishy Business, PNC Fish and More, Johnny's Fish
Yeah.
Store. It's not fair to them for me as the manufacturer per se in America to give it cheaper to the customers than they
Yeah,
can
no, you
sell it
can't do
for.
that.
Because if I sold it online for $114.99 and gave free shipping, that's the same thing as me selling it for $80.
Yeah.
Because you go to the store, you're buying it for $114.99. So it's only fair for me not to do
Absolutely.
that. And I've told all my stores that I will not do that. That if they buy it from Quantum's website, it is the MSRP plus shipping. It's the only way for me to be fair to
Yeah,
stores.
no doubt.
And I'm sorry, people, if that irritates you, but it's the only way to try to keep mom and pops and getting them to carry our products. So, but I would love to see Saltwater Aquarium because they can eat the shipping costs because they're just eating out of their own pocket, because I'm going to sell it to them for the same price I'm selling it to everybody else for. If they want to eat their profits and help benefit the community and sell a lot more volume, I'm all for it.
And it's what it comes down to is the end user experience.
So,
that's what you care about, and that's what we like to hear as an end user.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this as well, to try to get out to you guys and answer any questions and stuff like that.
Yes.
Tyann, if I could get every single person on your group, my group, the Quantum group, the international group, everything to message saltwateraquarium.com and ask if they carry our products, or Champion Lighting. I want to get it in one of them too by summer. It will be in one of them too by summer. Sorry, Carrie, I'm not going to Petco. I know way too many people at Petco. I could be there tomorrow, but it screws over the true mom and pop shops because they order in true volume and they order by true volume and they don't sell at the same prices as mom and pop shops do. So I see a lot of Petcos move into random areas to try to outsell mom and pop shops. So sorry.
Yeah, our Petco.
Once I get in every mom and pop shop, then we'll see about Petco. But
yeah, our local Petco, it's crazy. You'll go in there and they'll sell Tropic Marin Pro for like, it's what, 100 and I don't even know what it costs retail. Like
it's $124.
Yeah, you'll go in there sometimes and it'll be like $89.99. It's like, wait a minute, that's crazy.
Yep, they violate MAP policies quite often. So, and MAP policies are the only way for me to protect mom and pop stores against. I'm gonna throw this word, Big Pharma. I mean, Big Pharma's Petco in the fish world. I Superstore, however you want to call it. Well, Roca, I'm talking to him. There's a lot of conversations happening all throughout the Southeast right now. I'm going this weekend down to Jacksonville, Daytona, Orlando, Tampa, those areas, hitting up a bunch of stores, and then I'll be up in Atlanta in a couple weeks, all the way back up to the Carolinas, and possibly up into Virginia area through Tennessee to try to get more stores throughout all those areas as well. We just added another store today out in Louisiana, Kennersville, Louisiana. The Coral Connection out there, I think it was the Coral Connection or Coral Garage, one of the two. They just ordered the top selling products, put them in their store. They'll be going out tomorrow, hopefully. Coral Garage, Coral Customer. Where's his store? Kenner, Louisiana, and it is the Coral Connection. So they'll have a good bit of our products come next week at the latest. So we're growing. If you guys got local stores, let me know. We'll get them. We'll reach out. I'll add them to my list to stop by and talk to if they're on my travel directions.
You'll be making a long drive to Dallas. You'll be able to stop by a lot of shops.
No, I won't. Not to be able to make it by Tyan's dinner.
Yeah, I had to remind you about that.
Yeah.
Garrick, you can hit me up. I'm in Atlanta too. He can ship me stuff. I can save you guys shipping.
I mean, you have a lot of my products. So
what?
What's your store up there, Garrick?
Yeah, where I think I talked with him on one of Bobby's lives. I think he's not terribly far from me. I'm incoming. I think he was near me, not terribly far. Maybe I'm way off.
I'll absolutely come get some acros. I'll never say no to free acros or cheaper
Yeah,
acros.
I don't see free. Make sure you don't give them to him for free. Charge him.
I didn't see free. I had to fix my statement there. LFS in Kentucky. Mark, send me if you want to send me over their information. Name, store name, phone number, whatnot. I mean, or just the store name. If you know the owner, make it a little bit easier. I'll reach out to them. I've been talking to a few of them up in Kentucky. Fish Mania is one for sure. We're about to finalize the deal with them. And then I think there's another one up in that area as well. I was
Oh,
talking to.
Ignacio's not far from me. Oh, you're in Peachtree City.
He's in Peachtree
Yeah, he's
City.
in Peachtree, and then Tequila is not terribly far. I mean, we're all pretty close to each other. I'll actually be by Garrick this weekend. I'm
Yeah.
going to Got Soul on Saturday. I've got to get some shoes. Hey, I had a fire. I've got to replace some shoes. Okay, leave me alone.
Lucky,
Peachtree
not
City. He
lucky.
drives.
I don't know. Is it
Yeah,
lucky
not
or not
lucky at
lucky?
all. Peachtree City's awesome. It's a whole town just where they drive golf carts everywhere. It's where most of the Delta pilots live. It's an awesome little city.
Oh, that sounds like Grayton Beach and
Same
Seaside
thing,
Beach
exactly.
or
Yep, you
30A.
just drive your
Yeah,
golf carts everywhere. It's awesome.
yeah, no cars allowed. All right. Well, anybody got any other questions? I'm gonna get off here now. Let's call this a night. I think we've been on long enough.
We've bored them enough.
Next week we can BS a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for joining.
All right, guys. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining. We will see you guys next
Have a
week.
great week, everybody.
I'm gonna